Hi, Ashley. I'm glad you're here today. I think people are going to be shocked when when I tell you what one company has chosen to do for a team building exercise for their organization. I saw it and thought, oh, this cannot actually be real. So thanks for being here. I'm happy you're here. How are you feeling about just chatting about these different things that are on Reddit with managers and team members?
I love it. Thank you for inviting me to do this. It's real experiences in real world. So if we can talk about it and help people through it, or just be like, this isn't what you don't
Don't
do
do.
necessarily in your
Exactly.
workplace, I think it will be beneficial for everybody. Absolutely.
Exactly. Sometimes teaching good leadership is by highlighting really
That's right.
bad leadership. This poor person on Reddit, they put a post up and it was about a team building workshop that their boss has organized. And it's a full day workshop, 10 till 4. So I'm not going to read you everything that's scheduled, but there's scheduled things from 10 to 4 with only a short like lunch break. And I was shocked. People are not going to believe this. So just a quick little background. So the manager had started seeing a massage therapist, and the massage therapist is a spiritual guide. So the spiritual guide is telling the manager, hey, I do team building workshops. So he put out what the agenda was. And then this poor team member sends into Reddit and says, is this appropriate? Because this doesn't feel right to me. And of course, I was one of the first people to jump on with a giant like red flag, get the hell out, run
Mm-hmm.
now. Let me read you some of what is scheduled for that day. And remember, it's a massage therapist. Okay. So here's some of the things: how emotional suppression impacts creativity, productivity, and collaboration. Okay. And then we go on to reflective exercise on identifying the root of long held patterns.
Oh, that's very deep.
Very deep. Mhm. So this goes on and on with all of these guided practices to release mental and physical tension, to heal past wounds,
Mhm.
exploring how attention impacts energy, individual sharing of what has come to the surface emotionally.
And this is a massage therapist, not
Yes,
a therapist.
therapist. And what kills me is one of the topics is healthy boundaries.
And that's what they're crossing over. And
They're crossing over
yes.
every healthy boundary. A mindful eating practice, sharing circle on current mental, physical, emotional, and spiritual well being. This is as a group with your team members. Tell me what your feedback is with just hearing this for the first time.
First of all, my first thought is, again, a massage therapist in the workplace putting this agenda together. It doesn't connect whatsoever. They're asking for extreme vulnerability that I think individuals will even have a hard time talking to their individual therapist about, let alone in a group setting like that with your team members who you're probably not as close with, sharing
Mhm.
all that information. I think that's crossing over boundaries, and that's just setting them up for failure. There's no
Exactly.
growth happening out of those
No,
sessions.
there's no growth. If anything, it could be the opposite. Here's my professional take. And I started as a counselor, a private counselor, before I went into coaching and all of this leadership training. And there were fine lines even between counseling and therapy, and then certainly big lines between coaching and therapy. So I had to choose a route and I had to stay in my lane.
Yeah.
And when I was doing counseling, one thing I did tell people is I'm never going to drag things out of you that you don't want to talk about. So if you want to bring anything to the surface or anything pops up that you want to talk about, you're going to have to be the one that tells me, because I think yanking things out causes a whole lot of harm. For this to be happening in a corporate setting as a group is so irresponsible. And that massage therapist, I feel, manipulated this person who's probably really excited because, he's just started doing these massages. Probably
Right.
the spiritual conversation for him might be something that's really working for him and helping him. And he's probably leaving feeling really good, which I'm all supportive of. But now this massage therapist has manipulated the situation and basically made him feel like this is something you can bring to all of your people.
Right.
And that massage therapist or spiritual guide, this is so risky because you are not equipped or properly trained. What if they did have a buried memory?
Right.
Something that is traumatic that has been buried to protect them. And then you do all of this work for the day and these guided meditations and all of this stuff that ends up pulling these emotions to the top in front of their coworkers. And now you're not trained and you are not equipped to properly handle that. That is not okay. I think vulnerability is magical.
Yeah.
I think when we as trainers have somebody in one of our training sessions suddenly go, hey, I got to tell you, I've got to own something. I really screwed up with one of my team members the other day. I said something I shouldn't have said. That's vulnerability. And we are so grateful when those moments happen, but those are organic and appropriate. This is not.
No, and that takes time to uncover for someone. Someone's just not going to walk into a session in a group of how many people and just automatically be vulnerable. That does not happen.
No.
And suppressing, the whole thing about suppressing emotions, I just wonder, what is the outcome they were wanting to get from this training? We don't know, but what did they see their team all of a sudden just holding hands and all being one spiritually? That's not going to happen. Right.
I think the intent from the manager was good because you know what? Kudos to him to want to dedicate a day of work. Like that's a work day that everybody's going to get paid for and not be doing their regular job. So kudos to him for wanting to offer them this cool experience. He's not equipped enough to understand how inappropriate that was. He was thinking, I believe, that this will be team bonding at the highest level, right? Everybody will walk away feeling closer and more connected. Right. And that's a really great intent. That isn't how we do it. Well, what advice would you give if somebody came to you and said, here's what my manager is asking us to do as a team? What advice would you give them?
I would encourage them to have an honest conversation with their boss about how it makes them feel, how they possibly could see this going, how uncomfortable they are really talking about anything like that. Number one, maybe internally, outwardly, saying it outwardly, but also in front of people that are not their close circle or who they're maybe not 100% comfortable with. And then what that outcome could look like. And then I would also just see, like, what were you trying to get out of this? What were your expectations and goals? And just being upfront and saying, I am not comfortable with this moving forward. I am all for other training, but just not this approach.
And I agree with you 100%. I think that would be the very best first step. And I would just add a part B to that, where I would say to the manager, I want you to know obviously it's your choice what you choose to do. I'm giving you my reservations. I would feel confident, assuming others may be feeling the same thing. You could ask, but at the end of the day, if this is going forward, I am going to remove myself and not be in attendance.
Right. And I even feel bad for them even to have that conversation.
Oh, they shouldn't have to.
I'm sure a lot of people aren't even comfortable saying that. Will they say that, or will they just attend because they feel like they have to because their boss is telling them to? Probably. Yes. And I just, that whole situation in itself, that's just another conversation that probably shouldn't even had to happen.
You're right. That's probably not something anybody would feel that comfortable doing. I did say to the girl that posted that, if you want to give your manager my name and number, message me private and I'll give it to you, because maybe hearing from
a professional person,
yes, may help him see it from another perspective. Because again, I think his intent was so good.
Right. And that's even harder too for his team member if they know him and can say, well, he's really trying. Again, that just might be something else they feel bad even bringing up, because they know his heart's in the right place. It's just the wrong approach to get it there.
Yeah,
absolutely.
It's very tough when we're in these topics because, like, I remember once in a company I was working with, they were offering yoga sessions in the morning, which was really kind. It was all optional. Obviously, it's not mandatory, but they were offering it like a half hour or an hour before work would start. I think was like a really great little perk, right? It's right there at work. But there was one lady who in her religious belief, yoga was like a cult to her. Like she did not think this was okay. She thought yoga was evil, bad. It's just what she believed.
Right.
So that put her in a weird space with it. So I did help that situation and help her see it just a little bit different and just gave her a broader look of like it's a practice and just like mindfulness or breathing.
Right.
They're all part of yoga. And I think it helped her. So whenever we're introducing spiritual topics as a corporation, we have to be super careful that we're not putting our ideas onto other people. You were manager for a long, long time. And I know how strong of a faith you have. How did you walk that line so you're careful about that at work?
I would never bring it up with any of my team members, but I also spent a lot of time one-on-one with them, getting to know them. They let it. So, a lot of people don't feel comfortable talking about their personal life or their spirituality, and that is fine. We were more
100%.
professional. What are your professional goals? But a lot of times people came in and we did talk about their family, what they were doing on the weekend. That was them bringing it to me. And then once I understood the relationship and how they are as a person, then those conversations would start. So if they did bring up God and spirituality and we went down that path, then I had that conversation. I never really shared my thoughts and beliefs. It was more them opening up to me about it and how they feel strongly about it. And we were in nursing. So that did play a big part into it. Especially when I was doing hospice related work, those conversations happened all the time, but that was a different setting. But it was more them coming to me and me just building that relationship and really getting to know them with what they're comfortable with. Are they vulnerable or do they shut down? That type of thing. Do they just want to keep it strictly work related? Let's talk about this, how we can move forward. And that was great too. But it's truly understanding and picking up on those cues and not ever, like you said, putting your beliefs on them to make them feel a certain way.
Exactly. And it's about just walk the walk. If you believe in human connection, if you believe, we are connected, if you believe in love and peace and these good values, just live those values. You don't have to attach them to any kind of religion or spirituality that you think you need to push on other people. Just live your values. And if people need more from you or want to know more, they will ask. But to do any kind of forced things like this, you have to be super careful.
But again, it's all about that understanding and picking up on those small cues. And you do that through conversation and truly listening to your team members. Just extremely important to know, what they're about and who they are for that relationship to grow.
Well, you can agree with me or disagree with me. I want to know what you think. But when you invite your workers into a team building workshop, what is their initial reaction in your opinion?
I get the eye rolls, really, like we have to do that. When I was a middle manager, I required some type of self-awareness or team building exercise once a quarter. That's what we were allowed to do.
I love it. Yep.
And the first session, the backlash I got, like, really, I have to come in for this. Yes, it's extremely important. We need to find out who we are, how we are as coworkers, how we are as caregivers. And then we need to come together. And after the first session, it was all positive. And then the next time we did it, I changed the focus a little bit more, but they were all on board.
Team building, it instantly gets you a reaction, but your team resists it. They resist it. If it's done well and it's done thoughtfully and it's done without all the cringy stuff, people actually really do have fun and like it. When you did your team building, was it during working hours?
Yes, they're there at the hospital so many hours during the week and stuff like that. I always made sure the requirements are when they were working. Whether it was team building before a meeting, I would come in on night shift and do it with them. Like I came to them because I really tried to value their time. That was important to them. So I was extremely flexible and I did it not during the busiest times of their shift. It was when they had some downtime so they really could focus and they didn't have all the call lights and everything going off. So I tried to be flexible that way. And I really did get a lot more engagement. And I polled them. I asked night shift, what is the best time for me to come in and do anything? Whether it was training, whether it was team building, one-on-ones, meetings, what is the best time? And they always said between 10 and 11 at night. Day shift, it was harder because the shift was usually just more chaotic, but we found those down times. And if that meant me meeting with them 3 times a day to get those groups, I did that. But it was extremely beneficial. And also it showed them that I'm there for them. Like, I'm there to support them. Again, it's not what I think and what I say and do. It's a team approach.
Yeah. And the timing that you did with kids and everything else, going at 10 to 11 is not your choice time frame. It says everything about you as a leader. And they notice that. They see that. They feel cared for. They're like, okay, she asked, and then she actually did what we suggested. So I do have companies that have done optional team building or team social events. They say optional, and those should be optional if they're not paid for that time. Right. It's after work hours. I'm great. If you want to invite people to a staff barbecue, pool party, dinner out, comedy show, movies, if you want to offer that to your people, and that's a social event that they can attend, and it's not obviously paid for time, I think that's fantastic.
Yes.
What I don't think is okay is somehow making people feel bad if they aren't in attendance. Maybe it's somebody with a young family or somebody with health issues or a caregiver, and they cannot spend more time than what they already do at work.
In the beginning, we tried to do those team events outside of work hours. And again, people's life were busy, and we had people with families. We had people with grandchildren. We had new grads, still living at home. Like, it was all over the place. So what the leaders in our division started doing is we started coming together and doing like big supportive events for our staff, but we would go to them to the point where we would load up carts of food or whatever it was, and we would roll our cart different shifts multiple times a week to hit everybody, and we came to them. That was one thing we did very well. We were given the budget to do that. We had hundreds of people in our division. It was just brainstorming, how can we touch all these people, make them feel special with the budget that we had. So it was night shifts, it was weekends coming in, it was day shift, of course, but we had way more engagement, and they felt the support when we went to them versus them coming to us all the time. And we really took pride on that. We did different things. We did like a carnival theme, and we all brought gifts. We all made food, that type of thing. We did Hawaiian stuff, just whatever was going on at the time.
Yeah. So. I put that in my other book. When you have a work environment that's very diverse and you have lots of cultures, lots of different people, doing those different themes or letting people bring like desserts from their country or your favorite grandmother's recipe.
I do want to say, when I was a new nurse, I was working in Atlanta, and our floor was so diverse. And every Thursday or Friday, we would bring in a different dish from our background, how we grew up. I loved it. I learned so much. And in the beginning, people were like, oh, no. But then they started eating the food. They're like, oh, this is great. And then the conversation started outside of like a work focus. It was more on a personal level. And it took off. And I look forward to that every single week. And wonderful women and men on the team who enjoyed cooking. So they would go all out. But it just became something. And when I left that organization, I missed that. Like, that was one of the highlights of the week. That connection happened over food. It was great.
And food we use to celebrate everything. That's what food does. So it makes sense to me to use it at work that way. I think it's a bonding thing. It's amazing to share those things with people or to share festivals and celebrations that we don't have here. I think that's a lot of fun. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, this was good. I'm really happy we did this, Ashley. I've got all kinds of stuff for us to talk about down the road. Like I said, I've been on there a lot and I'm really enjoying it. I do it a little bit in the morning and in between my appointments and just try to help people where I can. And it's also teaching me a lot. It's validating a lot of things, and it's making me question some things because we live in a really different time with AI and fast paced and everybody wants things quick. Having these conversations with you, I think, are a lot of fun. And I'll just keep picking some Reddit topics that I think are really cool to bring to the surface. And then I know they're real people.
Yes, real experiences that are out there that some people don't even know is happening, but it is. It's a reality. So
exactly. All right. Well, thank you for doing this with me. And I will see you again soon. We'll get some more of these done.
Great. Thank you.
So until next time, remember, be that leader, the one who empowers, connects, inspires.